Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're checking out a new Tier 2 Goofballer, Vampire. Now this is a Commonwealth ship. I believe it's a Australian ship. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Nevertheless, we got Leonard Murray, a Dewey. Down under Dewey, in fact. Leonard Murray. So not really worth going out of your way to get the ship just for the commander. Like if you don't have the PS Plus or the Xbox Live subscriptions, don't be like, oh my god, I need to get this ship. It's a Tier 2 Goofballer that come around. Big race, capture the base mode. But that said, it seems to be pretty fun. I played it a couple games here. I'm not going to play the Vampire all night. We got a bunch of tier 8s to grind on you nuts. But it's definitely going to be a fun ship to potentially play for your tier 2 premium supplies every week. Now, if you look at the setup here, we got these smokes, quick cycling smokes, 6 of them. Very British, UK-esque in that aspect of the ship. And usually when we get those type of ships where we got these quick cycling smokes, short duration, we're going to want to be focusing on the guns, and we're going to confirm that suspicion when we see the torpedo spreads here in a minute. Okay, you got actual widespread and then tube by tube, as opposed to the British line, which is a widespread, yes, but it's basically like most nations, narrow spread, and then the tube by tube. I don't think the tube by tube is that useful. Personally, I only use it about 10%, 15% of the time when I'm launching as the Brits in certain specialized situations. But for a lot of zoning torpedo type shots, I don't particularly like to do that. So in this game, I'm going to be trying out the widespread just to see how it does. Accidentally cross in front of our team here. Unintentional, obviously. He's appears as though he got off the gas, so I gunned it around him. I mean, you assume your teammates aren't trying to run into you, right? Especially when we're almost engaging with your enemy. Just get off them as quick as possible. I know it's annoying, but is what it is. Okay, Vampire's here. Now we got some decent support here. We're kind of playing in the gap here, though. And you saw the torpedoes. Okay, we'll just go ahead and throw them down there. And, that actually looks fairly narrow compared to the cone. I don't know what's going on with this thing. But nevertheless, we're wailing away on this guy. He does have another support, Dursky, I believe, the Russian low tier, whatever that is. But we got some Vampire on Wakataka action there, and down he goes. He wins that first engagement. And a lot of destroyers in this. Now, a lot of people testing out the Vampire, yes. But we got some lower tier tech tree destroyers in there as well. So we're going to be running and gunning this game. And this thing, I think it does the run and gun role pretty well. Again, helpful when we get spotting from the team. In fact, almost necessary in a lot of cases. But it's a low tier ship. You can get away with stuff. Here comes the Dursky, and we got 2 more destroyers on the eastern side of the map. We got to keep an eye on them because we're kind of becoming boxed in with them. But we got multiple guys shooting the Dursky here. He's, front and center in terms of my consciousness. Let's just go ahead and get him off here, and then hopefully we can take care of this guy and then move on to these other destroyers. Speed seems pretty good on this thing. Maneuverability, everything's pretty good. The only thing that's strange is the torps. Okay, so that's why I'm recommending going the gun build. Those generic commanders, a lot of you guys like to fool around with them as destroyer builds more than I do. I always just use the standard DD commanders or whatever. But you might be able to come up with some interesting builds for the ship. How much time and effort you really want to go and be putting into your tier 2s, who knows. Romulus, he's one of the 2 ships over here. And we also do have, what's this thing, a Carl over here. And he's low. He's got about 8,000 or 9,000 health, it looks like there. But we're going to want to get him off there. He's getting attacked by the planes, though, which is great because the planes are spotting him. And we're able to send these shells down range, set him on fire, get a little bit of damage, help get him off. Because the cruisers, especially in a high destroyer count game like this, that's when the cruisers really shine. So if we can get one of those cruisers off the board, again, from our perspective, the most dangerous class in the game, well, that's going to help our own survivability. Because you can see the teams are trading fairly even. It's capture the base mode, so we might have a little bit of scoring in the background, but usually it's just more who's going to win the slugfest, especially at these low tier games. So we're trying to preserve the HP while still be doing some damage. Here's his buddy, the Vampire. And this isn't a fight we want to take 2v1, even 3v1 if that Carl chimes in here. So even though, it didn't look that bad, we don't want these guys to quickly get 4 or 5k because that's half our health. And all of a sudden, a situation that looks pretty manageable for me in this perspective, it can get out of control pretty quickly. So we're just going to go ahead and disengage. We are noting that we do have a cruiser coming over here to support as well, which is giving us confidence. And as soon as we take note of him, check him out, okay, he's not a lot of health on the guy, but he can help, certainly, especially if we can get that car off the board. So we're getting some more confidence. stop our, evasive maneuvers and begin to attack again, because we want to get these destroyers off the board. We want to make sure they don't get on our base for any amount of time, because if we're going to have a close game like this where the ships are trading pretty evenly, we don't want them to get a 10-point tiebreaker by being on our base for a minute or whatever it would take to get that. So, trying to ward these guys off, but we don't want to do it in a 1v3, 1v2 type of a situation. So, good job there. Here comes the Vampire, and he's shooting AP. Okay, well, that's fine. I'm not really worried about him at this moment. Oh my god. Now, we would normally give this guy the horn, right? Wide spreads, but come on. Either you got the narrow spreads, which they're tough to launch, and they're not that effective at long range. I use narrow spreads when I got a guy dead to rights. I'm not going to miss this shot. Let's hit him with 8 torps instead of 3 or 4 of them, That's the kind of tube-by-tube launch that I can do. Sure, you can manually produce something that resembles a narrow spread, and I'm sure there's players that are better at that than I am that do that regularly. Fair enough. But for me, I just like to use the wider spread, so widespread torps on the UK/Commonwealth usually, and in this case, I'm not really digging the widespread. So that's my one knock on the ship. If you want to use the narrow spread, oh my god, we got a He-Gone on the Romulus. Look out, zoning torps pay off again. And that was what widespread be. Do we got to hit him with the horn? No, we're not going to hit him with the horn. But, it's the nature of the beast. You guys let me know in the comments. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been playing this ship. Let the other guys that are checking out the ship in the preview, what are you guys running with them? I'm interested to see, too, who's having more success with which spread, I guess. So anyway, we throw another spread over there. Why not? Go ahead and fire. Why are we doing this? Well, we just got spotted, okay? Now, it didn't happen immediately, which threw me for a little bit of a loop here. But I think it was just a little bit of a delay on the icon appearing. It's about a second delay or whatever. So we willfully became spotted, and then he fell for the bait and he began shooting. So because we don't have twist and track, we have no radio location on these Dewey builds, which is why I would never personally use them. We don't know exactly where this guy is. If I'm in my normal destroyer builds, I don't know exactly, but I know basically where he is at all times, and I would just charge for him or play defensively if it seemed like he was moving into me. I'd rather set up for him to move into me than chase after him. But anyway, so that's why we pulled that move, and you can do that with other classes too. Just keep that in mind. You can willfully become spotted and see if that'll help you get some information. Vampire, we're attacking him. We're winning the trades, obviously, and we're going to turn. He'd already launched one, but we want to be destroyer via destroyer. We definitely don't want to be sailing in straight lines. You got to assume these torps are in the water, so if you're going to kill them quickly, kill them and then do a 180, or else change your heading multiple times while you're attacking, because there's nothing worse than, especially a fight like that where you win the fight and then boom, you get hit by torps afterward. It's always a bit of a bummer, so that was pretty easy there. Vampire moving in here, and he's got, this game is looking pretty good. They've got the carrier still, they got the one destroyer who's spotted and getting shot, but he kills the destroyer. This cruiser's low. The other cruiser's attacking a carrier, which especially at low tiers is a coin flip. This could, often the carrier will kill ships that are suicide rushing them like that. Why you would possibly want to get close to a carrier as a cruiser, I have no idea. Well, I know he's trying to torp him, but from my perspective, it makes no sense. But anyway, my point is all 3 of these ships that are on my team could die very rapidly. Now, not the carrier. Assuming he hasn't been attacked previously. I don't know what his health situation is, but he could be considered invincible at this point in time. The enemy carrier could kill him, but it would take a long time fighting through the fighters that the carrier deploys. So I'm not really worried about that. If this game all of a sudden becomes close in terms of ship counts, then what I'm going to do is get on their base, and I'm actually going to make that play regardless here, because sailing through the base, pursuing these guys, whether I'm going for the carrier or the destroyer, I'll be halting their accrual of points, right? So we're going to be getting a tiebreaker built into the score here by running on that. So we got a shot on the Vampire here. He spotted him. Okay, we stop sailing towards the cap just for a second here to engage him. If he gets away, I believe he stops shooting here and runs, then we'll immediately resume attacking the cap. Not trying to capture the base, just trying to get 5, 10, 20 points, whatever it is, built in. Because I don't like to lose games where we're winning on ships, and it happens often enough that you want to be careful. All right, so we got the Confederate built in here. We don't have the high cal, which is interesting, but high caliber is the percentage of HP on the team. Now the carrier itself probably had a third of the team's HP or whatever it was, due to maybe a quarter. So getting a high caliber in this situation for a destroyer would be difficult, barring an attack on the carrier, at least one of those cruisers. But we did enough damage on 6 or more ships. 30% of their total health or whatever, that we got the Confederate, which is the rare metal anyways. And here's what I'm talking about. Okay, sure, we're still pursuing the destroyer, especially since it's the last ship on the board, but we're also going to deliberately sail through these caps. And that's how you want to be viewing the cap in Capture the Base mode, is a scoring opportunity, right? You get points for being on the cap. If they don't defend the cap and they allow you to capture it, booyah, we'll take the W. But that's not why we're on the cap usually. Sometimes you do try and capture the base as more of a Hail Mary play. There's only one way we can win this game, and it's by potentially capturing the base. But usually you're not going to win those if anyone comes to defend. So anyway, that's how I would always advocate viewing the caps. But the Vampire, that's a look at that one, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.